Welcome back, gamers, to Infinite Dice. We are bringing you another battle report today, another fast, short one. It's going to be 1,000 points of my Nighthaunt army versus Ian's Skaven army. Now, real fast, let's go through this. My Nighthaunt army, you got to see this played yesterday against the Elves. I did a little bit more touching up, got some bases done. I also switched out a Banshee. I was playing the Banshee for another Wraith. I thought the Wraith would be key. And then, of course, I'm running the 3 Spirit Hosts, the 2 units of Hex Wraiths. The Hex Wraiths are the guys on horses in the back, the 3 Wraiths as heroes, and my Chariot hero. And let's hear Ian on his Skaven army. All right, welcome, Ian. Thanks for coming over.
Thank you.
Do you mind showing us the Skaven list that you brought today?
No.
And introducing yourself as well?
Oh, sure. Well, I'm Ian. And here's my 1,000-point list. As you see here, for my leader behemoth choice, I got a Screaming Bell. That'll be the first time I've used one in Age of Sigmar, so we'll see how that goes. On either side, we have my 2 battle line units, just 10 clan rats each, with their rusty spears and shields and whatnot. For my more fun units, I have a Warp Lightning Cannon in the artillery spot. Also haven't used that in Age of Sigmar yet. This is going to be a very experimental list for me. And then a Doom Wheel over here as another behemoth choice. I'm not sure if I use that
in the behemoths.
Yeah, well, given our scenario, I'm going to have to table. And then Storm Fiends right here.
We'll talk about this scenario in just a minute.
Yeah.
And then some Storm Fiends that are always MVP.
Well,
the Doom Wheel also. Yeah, we'll have to see. All right, thank you so much. All right, so as he was saying, we rolled for scenarios and we got 3 places of power, which are these 3 gold tokens here in the center. I won the roll for setting up, so I decided to play on the slanted board, and I picked this side. I'm deployed over here, and Ian has deployed his Skaven over here, and 3 places of power. So the objective of this game is you need to put a hero on one of these gold tokens in the middle of the field, and at the end of your turn, you score victory points for the number of for each hero on a token for the number of turns they've been there. So on the battle round 3, at the end of your turn, if you've had a hero sitting there since the beginning, you'll have 3 victory points. So that is the mission we are playing. As Ian was talking about, I'm running max heroes of 4 heroes. Each one of those wraiths are cheap little heroes. So I'm running 4, and he only has 1, the Screaming Bell, which is kind of devastating for this mission, but that's why you roll missions, so you can't min-max armies like in general. You gotta be able to do a little bit of everything. So his Scream Belly setup, his plan is to pretty much just take this center token, and we discussed it a little bit. It seems like the only way he's really going to be able to win is to just completely table me, just because I have more heroes and I can take over more tokens. But we'll see how that works out. And then this is my deployment. Kind of a bad picture, but lined up. The Hex Wraiths are over there by each other in the corner, kind of grouping together. Oh, and then this is Ian's deployment. Again, he's just front and center with the Screwing Bell monstrosity going for that center token. And then I have my Wraith and some other Spirit Host hidden behind this to protect from shooting, which ended up being irrelevant, but I like hiding Spirit Hosts. All right, Ian's first turn, moved everything up. He tried to cast Mystic Bolt. It failed, Mystic Shield, and it failed. And I believe his command ability gives +1 to movement and +1 to bravery to everything. And the Screaming Bell rolled on its chart, and everything in his army can have +1 to attack in his next combat phase, which is kind of completely useless because there won't be one. And then the Doom Wheel shot at my Lord General Chariot, put some wounds onto him. And then my turn, everything moved up. As we can see here with the arrows, just everything kind of battle line, front and center, just move up. Now this is a close picture because you can kind of see how there's 7 inches between all of these units and my nearest target for charge. So I'm going to have to roll at least a 7 or higher on these 3 units to get them into combat. So again, I have no magic and no shooting, so we're going to go straight to kind of a vanilla army. Going to go straight to charges, and all of my charges make it. About every unit makes their charge. I rolled a bunch of double 6s. Everybody that needed to make a 7 or higher on 2d6 made it, which is fantastic because if I just had my general or a hero or some units in combat without the support of everybody else, it kind of would have been a disaster fast. So luckily I had my whole army with me. The bottom of round 1, everything's in combat. Bloody, bloody game. And then again, the charges, you can see my Hex Wraiths went up there to go hunt down his Warp Lightning Cannon at the top. And then my other Hex Wraiths came in for the Storm Fiend support, because Storm Fiends are brutal. And then we got a guest viewer that joined us halfway through the game. So, yeah. Not too much commentary from him, but he did watch and observe and loved it. Alright, so at the end of combat, you can see we killed some clan rats, put some wounds onto my Lord General chariot. 4 wounds. We're counting up wounds in this game. You can see the 4 there on the dice. We're counting up wounds. Last game with the first battle report with the elves, we were counting down wounds. Just so you're not confused, we were counting up wounds. So it has 4 wounds, 7 wounds all day, so 3 remaining. And I was able to drop a Storm Fiend, which is fantastic because this is the end of turn 1, and if he wins turn 2, that'll just be one less guy that he can shoot with, and their shooting is pretty devastating. And they have 6 wounds apiece, so being able to drop a guy was just fantastic. Alright. Where are we? Oh, okay. So this is the end of one more wound gets put on the chariot. This is the end of battle round 1. So we roll for upkeep of battle round 2, and I win the roll, which is giving me the classic legendary double turn in a row where I just got to go and I get to go again. Most everything is locked in combat, so not too much movement. Again, I don't have a hero phase because I do not have any sorcerers. Green arrow showing that I'm moving over to take that base with a Hex Wraith, and I'm moving my Spirit Host up for some port / shield. In case it does come down to a tabling scenario, I kind of want to make that shield for my Wraith over there. And everything else is just kind of staying stationary. Oh, there's a green arrow way down here where you can see that I came up and took this token as well. Although I had that first turn, he just kind of moves up a little bit. And this shows us a picture of our beginning of combat on the top of round 2. All right, after combat. Okay, so he killed my chariot. Woo, that's sad. That's kind of a bummer. Front and center, chariot god. No, not chariot god. Chariot general dead. Turn 2, but I was able to destroy another Storm Fiend, which is, again, fantastic because now he hasn't had a round of shooting with them yet, and the first round of shooting they're going to be down to 1/3 unit strength, which is just fantastic. Okay, so bottom of round 2, this is a picture of Ian because he got his Apocalyptic Doom. This is Apocalyptic Doom Ian. That's a Screaming Bell. He rolled, I'm not sure what the roll was, but it ended up just putting massive amounts of wounds across the entire field. For every one of my enemy units on a 4-up, they take D3 mortal wounds. I do get some saves, but he just rolled fantastic. Deserved it. He's been rolling kind of bad. Oh, that was brutal. It definitely changed. That killed the Wraith that was in front of the Screaming Bell, giving that the opportunity to move around. I'm going to skip that. And then we're going to go to combat. So combat here, bottom of round 2. Another interesting thing, if there's a triumph table in this game, and if you're playing lower points than your opponent, you can roll on the triumph table, and you have a couple options that you get a small bonus throughout the game. So I'm running 980 points because I dropped that Banshee, who was gave me the extra 20 points. So I'm running 980, and Ian is exactly 1,000. I get a triumph roll. My triumph was I could re-roll wounds on 1 combat per game. And I popped that right here on these units to try to drop the last Storm Fiend and got him up to 5 wounds. But they have 6 wounds, so this guy stays alive, which is pretty brutal. I wanted to pop my awesome Triumph ability, but it was fun to use that. I dig it. The end of round 2, things are looking pretty brutal. All right, so we're rolling for the beginning of turn 3, and we are getting pumped. Here we go.
Okay. Yeah!
2 and 3. Ian has it on the 3. Very relevant because all of his stuff is at the breaking point. You can see here that only has 1 wound before it pops. That only has 1 wound before it pops. And the Doom Wheel only has 1 wound before it pops. So we're going to see one more good shooting phase, and then we'll see what happens from there. All right, so as you saw, the roll for round 3 was incredibly important because all of his army was about to just go up. If I got that roll, I probably would have just tabled him. I don't know. The Screaming Bell was probably not going to go down, but it would have been, everything would have just been devastated. Instead, he gets 1 more turn to utilize everything to maximum ability, which is nice. That's the beauty of rolling for initiative at the beginning of each turn. And let's see what happens. 2 charges here on his turn. His Doom Wheel went in over there trying to clean up that side of the board, and the Screaming Bell came in to help his Storm Fiend in the center there, still maintaining the inches, and some Clan Rats come with it. This is the end of combat. These up here at the top corner was able to pop the Doom Wheel, explode that chariot, that Doom Wheel chariot. The Screaming Bell still completely unscathed. I was able to pop the Storm Fiend, the last wound on that big old Ogre Storm Fiend. And I guess I kind of missed it, but his shooting phase on the Warp Lightning Cannon was fantastic. He got 6 mortal wounds. I was able to save a few of them, but just blew that up. And his Warp Lightning Cannon survived this combat, remaining still with 1 last wound left, which was pretty good. This is my bottom of round 3. I move up the guys to help out, the Spirit Host to help out the back, and then, let me see, yeah. And then I failed the charge. These Spirit Hosts right here, front and center, to come out. They would have been really helpful to get them on that Screaming Bell, but they failed their charge. What is that, like a 5? I think I rolled a 4. It was brutal. And then the Warp Lightning Cannon finally got its final wound as well, and you can see I'm holding these 2 bases. Go ahead.
All right, so we're making our rolls to see who gets to start off turn 3.
He needs to say turn 4.
It's pretty slim pickings on the board anymore. All that remains of my forces are 1 Clan Rat, another unit of 4 Clan Rats, and my Screaming Bell. Infinite D obviously has a lot more on the table.
All right, let's roll this.
Yeah, let's see it.
4. 5. Ian takes a turn, top of turn.
Ring the bell one more time. Let's keep the dice rolling. I want to see what.
He said he wants. All right, roll for the bell.
All right, this is probably the last time this is going to get to roll. Let's see what we get. 4. Oh, that doesn't sound very exciting. Let's see. Unholy Clamor. The Screaming Bell can move an extra 6 inches in its next movement phase.
Oh, no. What a letdown.
That is a letdown. Oh, well.
All right, so he won the roll for turn 4, which is awesome because he gets another bell ring. Nothing happens from that. The bell can move an extra 4 inches. Nothing happened in his shooting. Nothing happened in magic. So we go back to bottom of round 4 where I move my guys up like so. And then this is kind of where it leaves off. A couple more wounds this combat. Yeah, let's go back. A couple more wounds onto both units. This battle in the center continues. I'm able to put several wounds onto the Screaming Bell. You can see there I put 5 wounds onto it. Things are still left alive. And Battle Round 5 kind of just comes and goes with no excitement, no magic, no shooting, and not much damage. So that will be the game. This is kind of the end of it. Right here, you can see I'm holding both of these objectives with my 2 Wraiths. This guy since turn 1, so he's picking up, max victory points each round, and this guy since turn 2. The game ended with me having 21 victory points and Ian having 15. So this day is going to go to Nighthaunt yet again. If you look at the points on the board, I believe the Screaming Bell is 260 currently, and my Spirit Host there combating it is 120, and then my 2 Wraiths. So he has 260 points on the board, and I have 240 points on the board. So he's winning in that regard, but it was a bloodbath, and I just won the mission. Thank you so much for watching. We'll have another one up shortly. Enjoy the rest of your day.